Today, I'll explain the difference between FG, AG, and SG boots and help you figure out which stud type you should use for different surfaces. And of course, what you should never, ever do when it comes to FG, AG, and SG boots. So if you're out there looking to buy new boots but don't really know what to decide, hopefully this video is gonna help you. So the reason we have FG, AG, and SG boots in the first place is that a football pitch is not just a football pitch anymore. No, you might need different sole plates and especially studs for different types of playing surface, just like you would need a set of winter tires for your car when it gets wet outside. So we have FG boots, which are made for firm natural grass pitches. When those pitches get wet and muddy, you would typically wear an SG boot to get a bit more traction. And finally, if you play on artificial grass, like I'm sitting on here, you would go for an AG boot, a dedicated pair of AG boots. Because yes, a lot of people do wear FG boots on AG, and you can, but when you do so, you lose your warranty and there's also a much higher risk of getting injured. So why actually take that chance when you can get an AG boot and eliminate all of those problems? Let me explain. So FG boots, or firm ground, is probably the standard tooling, as the outsole is called, and what I think most people would buy if they're a bit in doubt, because it's kinda the safe option. Now, firm ground boots have been designed with plastic studs that can take everything from a conical rounded shape to an oblong bladed shape and everything in between. And it's designed to give you a good amount of grip balanced with a solid amount of comfort. But for an FG boot to work optimally, it needs to be able to penetrate the ground to give you the traction and the comfort you need. But if the ground is rock hard because it's warm in the summer, or if you're playing on an artificial grass pitch, I would probably go and buy a hard ground boot, or in most cases, an AG boot. Because the deal with AG boots is that they've been made to be the safe and durable option for people playing on artificial grass. See, an artificial pitch here is made with plastic grass straws, and then there's a filling of either rubber and cork. And the thing is that when you play on a plastic artificial pitch like this, it generates a whole lot of friction and heat, which is super abrasive on the studs, so they're gonna wear down more quickly. And because of that, when you wear an FG boot on an AG pitch, you're gonna lose your warranty because they simply haven't been made for it. So just keep that in mind. And this is where AG boots come in. Also, AG pitches are a little bit more sticky than an FG pitch, because when you plant your FG boot in an FG pitch, well, it can move a little bit inside the ground because you break down the dirt. That's not the case here, so your AG boots need to be a little less grippy, because imagine it like this: a bladed FG boot on an AG pitch. You plant your foot, the boot, your foot, the lower leg stays, but your upper body and your thigh continues, meaning that it puts a lot of pressure on your knee. And if you're unlucky, something inside that knee is gonna snap. And because of that, AG boots also look different than FG boots, and admittedly, less cool, but that's the way it is. Because often, you'll see that they have conical studs, or at least more rounded studs, in order to aid your rotational movement, which in plain English means that you're less likely to get stuck, also lowering the risk of injury. And sometimes, you'll also see that you have smaller studs, and there might be more of them, again to decrease the pressure on each stud, lowering the risk of injury and you twisting a knee. Now, you might also see that Nike are actually hollowing out their AG studs in order to deal with all the heat that you generate from the friction, and that's an attempt to lower the abrasion on each stud, and hopefully they won't wear out as quickly. Now, the AG toolings from Adidas, Nike, Puma, and Mizuno might look a bit different. In fact, Puma's is called MG, but it's an AG outsole. But they all do a pretty good job. And where I would say that as a rule of thumb, you shouldn't use FG boots on artificial grass if you can avoid it at least, you can actually go the other way and use AG boots on FG pitches. And granted, it might not be as grippy or responsive, but still, it works pretty well and it's gonna be a bit more comfortable. So if you play on both FG and AG pitches, I would get an AG boot because you can use it on both surfaces and then you're on the safe side. And finally, you might have seen these so-called FG AG boots, which is a brilliant idea because you can use them on both. But the thing is that this is just an FG outsole that the brands are okay with you using on artificial grass. So in other words, you don't lose your warranty when you use an FG AG pair of boots on artificial grass, unlike an FG only pair. So it's a clever move, but it's an FG pair of boots. So if you are serious about playing on AG, or you just play a lot on AG, buy a dedicated AG pair, because it's gonna be much better for you. Then, on the other side of the spectrum, we have the SG boots, which have these long and mean-looking aggressive studs that have been designed for when the pitches are really soft and muddy, and where a normal FG pair of boots isn't gonna provide enough traction. That's when these come in, because here, you basically dig deeper into the ground to give you more traction. And that's really nice when the ground is soft enough, but if it's not, and you can't penetrate it deeply enough, I personally wouldn't use an SG pair of boots, because if you can't go deep enough, you're basically running on top of your 6 metal studs. And long story short, that can lead to some really nasty ankle rolls. So unless you're playing on a really soft and muddy pitch, or it's nice and watered, I wouldn't wear SG boots. Of course, don't take it on the artificial grass pitch, because you're gonna mess up the pitch, you're gonna mess up your legs, just don't do it. And let me put it this way, if you're even a little bit in doubt about whether you need SG boots or not, you probably don't need them. You'll know. So, to sum it up, SG boots for wet, muddy surfaces, that's it. FG boots are kind of the standard outsole, which you can use a little bit everywhere. But if you play even just once a week on AG pitches, I would personally go out and first and foremost buy a versatile AG boot that also does a pretty good job on FG, because then you're kind of safe. And okay, that's just me, but what would you choose? Let me know in the comment section right down below. Remember that you can buy all of the boots in this video with the different stud types in the link to unisportstore.com right over there. Also, of course, don't forget to go subscribe to the channel with the notifications on, and then maybe go learn how to improve as a footballer in the playlist right down there. With those words, guys, I'll be signing off. Cheerio.